Hello everyone, Jamie Trull here, your favorite CPA and financial literacy coach. And today we're going to be talking about whether you need a bookkeeping software. So one of the questions I get all the time from people is, do I need a bookkeeping software? Or when do I need a bookkeeping software? Is it really necessary? Maybe you've tried a bookkeeping software before for your small business and it felt overwhelming and had way too much in it that you didn't actually need and weren't using, and you felt like the learning curve was crazy. Now, many of you know that I do advocate for QuickBooks Online. I do love QuickBooks Online, but there are instances where you may not need something like that, and there may be a better solution for you. And I'm going to tell you what that solution is at the end. But first, I want to talk about when you actually do need a bookkeeping software. And then I'm going to give you kind of the circumstances in which maybe you don't, and give you some cheaper alternatives than paying for a monthly software fee that may be better suited for you and your business right now. So let's quickly jump into some of the scenarios in which you really do need a bookkeeping software system so that you can determine if this applies to you or not. So the first reason you would need a bookkeeping software is if you are an SCorp or a CCorp. Why? Because if you are an SCorp or a CCorp, you don't want to just be using a spreadsheet or something like that to track your finances. You need to be doing double entry bookkeeping. And what that means is that you are also not just having a P&L, but you are having a balance sheet that is being created by the transactions that are occurring in that software. So that's one of the things that's really hard to create on our own is a balance sheet. That's where a software can come in handy because it's going to track your equity balances, which is necessary. Again, you have to track basis when you are a corporation. So there are some additional things like that. You can't just track a P&L if you are those entity types. Now, the second reason that you would need a bookkeeping software of some kind is if you have assets that you depreciate. Again, that's a situation in which you need to have a balance sheet. So if you have assets like large assets that you've purchased, machinery, maybe you have a car that is actually in the name of your business. Maybe you have some high dollar technical equipment, right, that you are putting on your balance sheet, i.e. it is an asset, and you are depreciating it over time for taxes, then yes, a software is going to be best suited for you because it can track all of that really detailed. That is a hard thing to be tracking manually, and you probably don't want to go down that route. The third reason that you would want to be using a bookkeeping software is if you use the accrual method of accounting. What does that mean? Well, the accrual method of accounting, you would know, first of all, if you use the accrual method. If you aren't sure, you probably use the cash method of accounting, which means that your income is recognized when you get the cash and your expenses are recognized when you pay the cash. So you don't have to worry about accounts receivable, accounts payable as far as your accounting goes. So if you do have to track accounts payable, accounts receivable, and that is your method of accounting that you're using for tax purposes for the accrual basis, then yes, a software is probably going to be the best bet for you. Number 4, if you have debt or inventory, a software is going to be best for you as well. Now, I'm not talking about small amounts of inventory that you can kind of manually handle, but if you are an inventory-based business, then you are probably going to want to have a software that can help you with that and that integrates with your accounting software to make things easier. And if you have any kind of debt or other liabilities, again, that's a reason that you would need to have a balance sheet that would show up on. So inventory is an asset on your balance sheet, debt is a liability on your balance sheet. So if you have anything that really needs to be tracked on a balance sheet, then you're going to want to use some form of accounting software to track that. Now, the next reason that you probably are going to want a software is if you have a large volume of transactions. Manual tracking via a spreadsheet can work if you don't have tons and tons of transactions. If you're making hundreds of sales in a month or have tons and tons of different expenses, then it's going to make sense to have a software system that is going to help you by automating a lot of that work, by being able to create rules and take a lot of the manual effort out of it. And the next reason is kind of related, but it's more related to the complexity of your business. If your business has any complex types of transactions like sales tax or anything like that, that could be a reason that you would want to have a software to help you track all of that. So if there's anything that's a little bit more complex about your business, then a bookkeeping software is really going to help you in that case. And the last reason that you may want to use a bookkeeping software is if you have employees. Now, that's not necessary, but I do find it a lot easier if you have employees. That means that your business has some level of complexity to it. So it may be best to be tracking that in a more formalized system like a bookkeeping software. Now, that one's not exactly a requirement, but I do find that it is helpful if you are a business that has actual employees, W-2 employees, that you probably do want to have a bookkeeping software that you can integrate with your payroll processor that'll just make things a lot easier on you. Now, let's talk about when you might not need a bookkeeping software. And as a accountant, obviously I am a proponent of bookkeeping softwares, but there are instances where it really might be overkill. So first of all, in the very beginning of your business, you probably don't need to get started immediately on a software. You can, but for instance, if it's just you doing some service work for some clients, you may be able to get by just tracking that really closely and having a system to track it. Figure out what your needs are first, and then you can find a system that's going to work for it down the line once you have grown a bit and scaled a bit and really need to have something a little bit more complex. Another reason that you may not need a bookkeeping software is if you have really low volume. Maybe you only make a couple of sales a month and they're really easy to track on your own and you don't have a lot of other things going on that you need to track. That might be absolutely fine to track in a more manual way and avoid that recurring cost every single month for a bookkeeping software. Another reason you might not need a bookkeeping software is if your business just isn't very complex. If you are a solopreneur doing some service work and you don't have a lot of these complexities that other businesses do, then it definitely might be overkill to have a system with all these bells and whistles that you're never going to use, you don't want to learn about, and just feel confusing to you. So that could absolutely be a reason that you don't need to go the route of a software. And finally, this is a good reason to mention as well, if you are just not a software person, if you know it's not for you, if you find them confusing, if you know you won't keep up with it, if you don't want to dedicate the time to learning the system, or that's just not how your brain works, don't do it. Just because other people are doing it doesn't mean you have to do it that way. And again, as long as you don't have some of these more complex needs, you can do it your own way for as long as you want to. So if that's you, what's the best way to track without using a expensive bookkeeping software? Well, it turns out I made something for you. So I've been working on this for a while. I've been asked for this over and over again. I have had a version of this, but I actually increased it and made it way more valuable so that you can not only track your income and expenses, create a P&L for tax time that your tax preparer is going to love you for, but you're also going to have a dashboard to see some of those really important metrics in your business and to be able to keep an eye on what is going on. Because I'm a really big proponent that the reason that we are doing our bookkeeping is not just for taxes. In fact, that's the second reason to be doing bookkeeping. We don't always think about it that way, but the first reason is because that is a treasure trove of data about what is going on in your business. And it gives you information about what you might need to tweak, how things are going, and all of the important financial aspects you need to be keeping tabs on. So that was why it was really important to me to go ahead and integrate this into a template that you can get for a low cost. This is not a recurring subscription. You buy it one time and it is yours to keep forever. No more cloud-based softwares that force you to pay a monthly fee that racks up over the years. This is a one-time fee that is less than the cost of even a couple of months of one of these softwares. So go check it out, jamietrull.com/profit loss. I'm going to pull it up really quickly here just so that you can see it and see if this is something that you would want for your business and would work for you. I'm going to show you a little bit of the functionality really quick here. Okay, so right now I am in the P&L dashboard that is within this P&L template, and you can see it's going to show you lots of awesome charts and graphs, and these are automatic. These are going to be automatically created based on the data that you put in. So you're going to be able to easily see things like your revenue by category, your top expenses, operating expenses by month, revenue by month, and lots of things about profit as well. So this is really going to give you a quick snapshot into the most important things about your business just based on the data that you already put in. And it's also going to create for you a summary P&L. So this is going to give you a P&L by month, but also you're going to be able to get your P&L for the full year to date. So that's going to be really useful when it comes to tax time. And you're also going to be really easily able to compare your performance for month over month. So if you take a look down, you're going to be able to see all your expenses and come up with what your operating income was and have all of that really easy to see. And the great thing is you can totally customize your chart of accounts. You can make it whatever you want. You can add in custom income categories or cost of goods sold or custom expenses to make sure that you can track everything that you need to separately track. And it's really easy. There is a video that's going to show you how to use this and how to input everything, but basically you're going to input this. We will show you how to do it from just downloading a CSV file from your bank or from actually just keying in the information on each individual tab for your income and expenses for that month. And then everything will automatically pull into the summary P&L. So you're going to be able to choose the categories based on the ones that you put into the chart of account, and everything is going to automatically pull in here and then create your dashboard for you. So again, this is a one-time cost for you, and you will have all of your information at your fingertips in order to make the best decisions for your business and be totally ready for tax time. Now, if you watched this video and realized, actually, maybe I do need a software because of your entity type or the complexity of your business, then I want to tell you that I do recommend QuickBooks Online. And you can go and check out all of the different deals that I've negotiated specifically with QuickBooks. They're the best deals you can find at jamietrull.com/QuickBooks. Now, importantly, if you go the route of a software, definitely use QuickBooks Online and not something like QuickBooks Self-Employed. I have a whole video about why I don't recommend QuickBooks Self-Employed, but to boil it down, it's not going to give you the functionality that you need if some of those things in the beginning of this video applied to you. There's no balance sheet, there's no double entry accounting. It's a glorified spreadsheet that doesn't even have some of the capabilities of this spreadsheet here, such as customizing your chart of accounts, and you're going to have to pay for it every single month. So better to get a one-time cost for an awesome spreadsheet that you can use for your business that is more customizable than to go down the route of something like QuickBooks Self-Employed. So thanks for being here. Again, go check out, I've got some deals specifically right now as I'm recording this video on my profit and loss template. So thanks for joining me. Again, click the link on the screen right now to go check out that profit and loss template and see if it's going to be right for you. I give you a whole tutorial on how to use it, and it's super easy for any business to be able to employ. Thanks for being here, and I hope to see you next time.